Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 12.1 is in full swing, bringing us much higher item levels from all content types, but only certain activities are available in this first week, and some sources have had their rewards restricted quite heavily until Season 2 starts for real. There are still some chances to get some great gear upgrades though, if you know where to look. So let's go over exactly how you can get up to item level 308 gear this week to best prepare your characters for the start of Season 2. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit on that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. The first thing you should do before heading out for any gear upgrades is to pick up the weekly quests in Silvermoon. There are two main quests of interest. The Unity Against the Void quest works in the same way as it did during Season 1. You'll have a few different content types to choose from, so pick whatever you think is easiest or what relates to the content that you'll be running the most. The other one is from Verisa, right next to Liandrin, and that one just requires you to gather up some fading Void Whispers, which can drop from dungeons, delves, treasures, and dangerous monsters. So if you just like to run dungeons, for example, this weekly quest offers you a very easy way to get your spark every week without being forced into any other content type. The first weekly quest you complete will give you a Spark of Tides, which will be used to fuel some huge crafted gear upgrades. We can only get one spark in this first week, so we'll have to wait until next week to put it to work to get a spark item crafted, but it's still important to get your spark this week, so make sure you complete at least one of these weekly quests at some point before reset day. The next stop on our list is to revisit the renown vendors for each midnight faction. You'll need to pop by Saltheral's Haven in Eversong Woods to pick up a veteran headpiece. This quest requires you to complete the Saltheral Soiree event and empower one of the rune stones. Head on over to the Amanizar village in Zul'Aman next. They'll have a choice of veteran necklaces for you, so pick whichever has the best stat combo for you. This quest requires you to complete an abundance event, so make sure you pick up the abundance weekly quest at the same time. Our next stop is in Harandar. This rep vendor will give you a belt after you complete the Legends of the Haranir event, so work your way through one of those stories and hand the quest in for another piece of free veteran gear. And then our last stop is going to be over in the Void Storm. The Crucible of Erratic Energies trinket is returning, which was quite a powerful trinket in Season 1, so I'll be interested to see how long it lasts in Season 2. This one requires you to complete the Stormarian Assault event in the zone. Now if you don't have the required renown for these quests because you either just ignored them in Season 1 or you came back to the game after a large break, it's probably not worth going out of your way to farm it in this first week. You're just going to be a bit behind anyone who got these reps farmed up in Season 1. Thankfully there are some other easy sources of gear that we can use. Now assuming you've completed the 12.1 story quests, which you absolutely should have, you should also be able to pick up a pair of veteran braces for reaching renown rank 2 with Zul'Jara's forces. You'll need to complete a Curse Surge event to get your last piece of rep gear, and you may as well pick up the weekly quest right next to this NPC at the same time. That one asks you to complete 3 Curse Surge events, and it rewards another Pinnacle Cache and your Spark of Tides if you haven't completed the other weekly quests already. The Curse Surges themselves don't offer amazing rewards. It seems like their gear rewards cap out at Adventurer, so you can skip this weekly quest if you plan on completing at least one of the others. It's also worth noting that you can pick up all of these rep items on all of your characters, even though the renown itself is account-wide, so it is a great way to get your ult some very quick gear upgrades as well. Now all of the weekly quests and event quests are going to reward you with a Pinnacle Cache. The first 2 that you get will contain a random piece of veteran gear, so hopefully that doesn't overlap with the other pieces you've obtained from the Midnight Renown factions. Every other cache will contain crests and other currencies, so they're still somewhat useful, and you should end up with a lot of veteran crests that you can put to work, and we want the free veteran gear from completing these quests anyway. Another easy source of veteran gear is hard mode prey hunts. In this first week we're limited to just normal prey hunts and hard mode prey hunts. We'll have to wait until next week to complete nightmare prey hunts to earn champion gear. The first 2 hard mode hunts you complete will reward you with a piece of veteran gear, so that's 2 more items to add to your loot haul. And then the lair boss will be available on the world difficulty option only. You can join a group and head into the special shared instance, or just walk in by yourself and the system will create a group for you. The boss is very easy to kill, even with just a handful of players, and these lair bosses have been designed so you don't need quite as many tanks or healers as you might expect from a standard raid boss. The lair bosses can drop veteran gear on the world difficulty, and there are quite a few interesting items in the loot table, so keep your fingers crossed and you might walk away with another piece of loot. So that's at least 9 pieces of veteran gear you can get your hands on, and up to 10 if you get lucky with the lair boss, and at least 5 are guaranteed to be in different gear slots. Hopefully you get lucky with your rewards and they don't overlap too much. But the best gear available in the first week of patch 12.1 mainly comes from running Mythic dungeons. We can't do Mythic Plus just yet, so we're limited to just Mythic 0 dungeons, but each boss you defeat in a Mythic 0 dungeon has a chance to drop a piece of item level 292 champion gear. That gear can be upgraded all the way to item level 308 if you can find enough champion crests to fuel your upgrades. That's going to be much easier next week, so for now, just clear each dungeon to maximize your chances for some big loot drops. During the first week, Mythic 0 dungeons will have a weekly lockout, meaning you can only clear them once in the pre-season. After Season 2 starts on August 18th, the lockout drops back down to daily, but by then you'll probably have moved on to farming Mythic Plus. So clear each dungeon on Mythic 0 once this week if you want to nab some champion gear. If you want to increase your chances of getting some gear, I would recommend you run as many dungeons as you can with the same group, preferably with as many players with the same armor type as yourself. For example, you can run a full group of plate wearers to ensure all gear drops are plate. That way, if a player gets 2 pieces of loot for the same slot, they will hopefully offer that extra piece to the other players in the group, sharing the loot so every piece is put to good use. There's nothing worse than running a dungeon and seeing a piece of gear drop that isn't useful for the player who got it, and there's no one else who can make use of it. Now, I know not everyone can do this, as it requires a large time investment, and it's much easier if you have an active guild or some friends, but even doing 2 or 3 dungeons with the same group could improve your chances of getting some loot for yourself. There is one other source of champion gear in this first week. Down in the vault of Atalutech, you can pick up an important quest that introduces you to the various events in this underground mini-zone. That quest rewards you with a Venom Cursed Fragment, and when you combine 2 of them together, you'll get a piece of random champion gear. On the PTR, we were able to pick up the Toxic Tour quest as well as the Purging the Vault's weekly quest at the same time, and they both reward you with a Venom Cursed Fragment, so that should give you another piece of champion gear if both quests are up. There's a chance the dev team pushes the weekly quest back to the start of Season 2, in which case you'll only be able to get 1 fragment this week, but that does set you up to earn another piece of champion gear right as the season starts, which should help you take on harder seasonal content. Now you may be wondering if you can skip over all of the veteran gear and just go straight into farming Mythic 0 dungeons for that sweet champion loot, and you absolutely can, but the veteran gear is more valuable than you might realize, even as we head into the start of Season 2. Every piece of veteran gear you get will make Mythic 0 dungeons easier, which is always nice, but more importantly, when you replace that piece of veteran gear with a piece of champion gear in the same slot, you can use the veteran gear to upgrade your champion gear once more or less for free. After looting the champion gear, upgrading a piece of veteran gear in the same slot will be free up to 5 of 6, and then you just have to spend 20 veteran crests to get it up to 6 of 6. And that will then make your champion gear free to upgrade to 2 of 6, so you can spend 20 veteran crests to upgrade your champion gear instead of having to spend 20 champion crests, which just lets you upgrade your gear much faster overall. So veteran gear is still very useful in this first week, even if the main goal is getting as much champion gear as possible. The same thing can be said about champion gear as you start your Season 2 gearing up adventures. For every piece of champion gear you have, it can save you 20 hero crests in the exact same way when you start to replace your gear. So make sure you keep your old gear and take advantage of this crest upgrading trick. It can set you weeks ahead of where you would be otherwise. After you're done with everything else, there's one last source of gear upgrades in this first pre-season week. The field accolade vendors in Silvermoon had their wares upgraded to Season 2 Adventurer and Veteran track gear. You can buy Adventurer gear for 200 field accolades, but at this point that's probably not worth your attention. Veteran gear boxes will cost you 500 field accolades, but those will contain a random piece of gear, so there's a high chance you won't get an upgrade from those if you've done everything else in this video. But you can also buy specific pieces of veteran gear for 750 field accolades. Now that is by no means cheap, but if you are smart and saved your field accolades from the end of Season 1, you may have a nice stockpile to buy a couple of pieces of gear. You can use these gear boxes to fill in your gaps and upgrade your lowest item level pieces. If you really want to, you can go back to the 1207 zones to farm some more field accolades, which could be worth it if you're close to buying another piece of gear, or you can just wait it out until the rest of the gearing options become available next week. Another easy way you can replace your lower item level pieces is with crafted gear. We can only get one spark in this first week, so we can't get any spark crafted gear made, but you can use adventurer and veteran crests to fill in some gaps instead. When crafting with lower quality recipes in your professions, so any of the blue recipes really, you can use Adventurer crests to increase the item level up to 279, or Veteran crests to bump the item level up to 292. The Adventurer crests are particularly useful here if you do have some very low item level pieces of gear, because you probably won't be using them to upgrade your gear anyway. Crafting Veteran gear does come at more of a cost though. You'll want Veteran crests to help upgrade your champion gear using the upgrade trick we just talked about. Now personally, I would recommend not using veteran crests to upgrade veteran gear, at least right away. Even if you're a solo content focused player, you should be able to start earning champion gear next week very easily, so I would hold onto your crests until you've used up all of your restored coffer keys and completed the nightmare prey hunts at the start of Season 2. It's also worth considering making 2 pieces of veteran gear for the crafting embellishments if you don't have high item level crafted gear already. These embellishments provide a decent boost of power and they're very easy to acquire. You just slap them on as an optional crafting choice when making your gear. You can only have 2 embellishments active at a time, so just be aware of that. If you're curious about the other gear sources available in this first week, you can get adventurer gear from world quests on the coiled isle, from killing rares or completing cursed surges in the new zone, from completing normal prey hunts, and from running heroic dungeons. This content might be worth considering if you need to fill in some lower item level gaps, if you didn't gear up that much in Season 1, or if you just don't want to run mythic dungeons. It's also worth noting that delves are limited to adventurer gear and veteran crest rewards this week, even though all 11 tiers are available to unlock and play. So even if you do a tier 11 delve, you still can't get higher than adventurer gear until the season starts for real. Delves can be a good source of veteran crests though, so you can farm them to get some easy upgrades for your gear or to get enough crests for some crafted gear. But that's how you can get up to item level 308 gear in the first week of patch 12.1, so you're as strong as you possibly can be when the season starts up next week. What are you going to be focusing on in this first week of the patch, and what are you most looking forward to in Season 2? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description, or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.